Hi, hello, and welcome back. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. And we are going through the Redline room today, which is a memory analysis tool for scanning for indications of compromise on an endpoint. This is actually a free room that is available inside of the Digital Forensics and Incident Response module for the SOC Level 1 pathway of TryHackMe. So very cool pathway so far, very cool module so far. And we've had some good fun doing some forensics and incident response exercises. So today we're going to be jumping into Redline. If you are on the path for security analyst or forensics or pen testing, ethical hacking, all that stuff, SOC level 1, any of these things, then make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and maybe even drop a comment. Two things happen when you do that. Number one, you actually help the YouTube channel that we're on get a little bit of more exposure so that we can bring more awesome people like you into our community. But the second and more important thing is that you actually get notified the next time that a video comes out. So if you're studying for security analyst SOC level 1 or pentest plus or ethical hacker, any of these things, I do a lot of videos on the daily. So this is kind of where we're at right now. And just to show you, we've done all of these videos just in the last 30 days or so since I started this channel. And I do multiple posts a day, sometimes more than multiple, sometimes one, but I try to do at least one post a day. And then just to kind of do a little humble brag here, it's all 100% reviews. So this is something that I'm very proud of, and it's just very enjoyable to see the community keep growing. So I would love to have you as a part of the community, and you will be getting a lot of value that will be genuinely helpful to you. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell, and drop a comment just to say hi, or if you have any questions. And yeah, about that. Now we're going to jump into the introduction of the room without further ado. All right, so there's a lot of tools that are available to us as incident responders and security analysts. Volatility is a really important one that allows you to dig deep into the weeds when examining memory artifacts, but that can take a lot of time. So when you're on scene, when you're on the location, and time is of the essence, right? You're in a rush, you want to get things done quickly. What needs to happen is you need to be able to do a quick assessment of everything that's going on live on the spot, so you can see what's up, especially if it's in the memory of the machine, which means it's in the RAM, which means that if the machine gets turned off, most of that stuff is going to reset. In a lot of cases, it just resets and it wipes. So that's where Redline comes in. And so it gives you a 30,000 foot view, or 10 kilometers high if you're using the metric system, of Windows, Linux, or Mac OS endpoint. And then we can analyze potentially compromised endpoints through a memory dump, including various file structures. And there's a nice GUI, a graphical user interface for us as well. So we can do all of these things using Redline and much more. And installing it is pretty straightforward from what I understand, but I'm using the virtual machine that's been attached to this room, which I already started. So if you want to download it and install it on your own machine, you are more than welcome to. If you're using TryHackMe and you want to RDP into it, remote desktop into it, the information gets released right here. You need to click the start machine so that the IP address right here populates for you, so that you can actually RDP into the machine. But for the most part, all of these things that we use inside of TryHackMe comes pre-installed for us. So it is a free room, so you can just get access to the virtual machine that is inside here, and just make it super easy for you without having to install Redline on your own machine if you don't want to, right? So we are going to answer the first question. It says, who created Redline? And it says FireEye, so it belongs to FireEye. So I'm guessing FireEye was the one who created Redline. And that is the correct answer. So let us go into data collection. All right, so here we go. Now we have the overview. I mean, we haven't done an overview, but we're gonna go into the data collection stage. So we can do 3 collection data: create a standard collector, create a comprehensive collector, and an indication of compromise search collector. Standard collector configures the script to gather a minimum amount of data, and this is going to be our preferred method for this room. Comprehensive gathers the most data for further analysis. It takes up to an hour or more, so we're not going to do that for this room. Indication of compromise search collector, which is only available for Windows. It takes data that matches the indicators of compromise that you created with the help of the IOC editor. So that would need to be pre-configured, it seems like. If you want to run data collection against IOCs that you have gathered either through threat intelligence, incident response, malware, you imported them through the IOC editor, and then I guess we're going to be looking at that in a further task anyway. So before proceeding, launch Redline, and it's right there on our desktop. In this task, we're going to be looking at the standard collector and create a standard collector. You will have an option to choose the target platform. In our case, we're going to use Windows since we're going to be on a Windows machine. And under Review Script Configuration, click Edit the Script and set the data to choose from the collect host. This will be 5 tabs, which includes memory, disk, system, network, and other. So we're going to look at some of the details. This is what's available for memory, and you can just kind of glance at this. I'm not going to read through all of that right now. We can configure to collect memory data such as process listings, yada, yada, yada. For this exercise, uncheck hook detection and make sure the acquire memory image is also unchecked. And be sure to check to make changes to the settings in each tab as necessary to mirror the settings illustrated in our content. So the disk tab, we're going to do exactly what it looks like right here, and the system will provide with machine information, so on and so forth, and we're going to make sure that we check what is checked. And network shows us stuff about the network, and other shows us things like hashes and tasks and so on and so forth. So we are now, it says we're ready to get next step, which is after choosing the data options, click OK, and then browse and save the collector into whatever. We need to create a folder where the analysis file will be saved and the script for collecting data. In our case, we're going to save it to the analysis folder that's going to be in the public documents, or that's what he's done. I'm probably going to end up doing it on the desktop just to make it a little bit easier. And you can choose any folder you want, but make sure that the folder is empty. After you choose the save collector, you will see the collector instructions, and this is what it's going to look like. If we go into the folder, we'll see that run Redline audit is going to be available, and it's a batch file. This is the executable script to collect data from the host. It needs to be run as an admin, so we're going to right-click it and run as an admin, and it's going to open up a command prompt, and it'll close when it's done, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to complete. So after the script is finished, you'll see a new file created called analysis session 1. That's going to be inside. That's crazy. So this is the short version that takes 20 minutes to complete. This is what we need to be able to import into Redline for investigation. So just double click on the file to import the audit data. And if you run the script multiple times, the naming convention will increment by 1. And congratulations, you have the data you need to dive into the investigation in the upcoming tasks. So what data collection method takes the least amount of time? Supposedly, it's standard collection. And is it not standard collection? I know it's standard, but maybe it's not the right word that I'm using. So what is the specific word I'm supposed to use? Collector, standard collector. That's what I'm supposed to say, standard collector. You are reading a research paper on a new strain of ransomware. You want to run the data collection on your computer based on the patterns provided, such as domains and yada, yada, yada. What method would you use? And that would be the IOC, but let me get the right phrasing for this so it doesn't say IOC Search Collector. That is the method that we're going to use. And what script would you run to initiate the data collection process? And that would be the run Redline audit. .bat, because it's a batch file. And if you want to collect the data on disks and volumes, under which option can you find it? So the collection of disks and volumes, it was going to be under, I think it's under OS, right? No, it's not on the system. Oh, disk. Yeah, it has to be the disk option. And we want to do disks and volumes. So let me see if it is actually, yeah, disks and volumes, disk enumeration under disk. So that is going to be the option. I'm going to say it's disk enumeration is what they're looking for. Disk enumeration. And finally, what cache does Windows use to maintain a preference for recently executed code? Ooh, that's a good one. We just did that too. I totally forgot what the actual name is, but okay, so the hint basically says to use their user's guide. So I just did a Google search for this question, and we have it right here, and it actually shows it right here. So the Windows component, the Windows uses prefetch, and that's what the specific cache was that I was using. So it should be prefetch. And yeah, okay, there you go. I was about to say, dude, if you give me the wrong answer, I'm gonna freaking punch the screen. No. I'm not gonna punch my screen. I love this computer too much. Okay, so very good. So that's just like that. We ran it, but I do need to go ahead and do the loading of all this information and actually run the data capture for this machine. And it's gonna take 15 to 20 minutes. So that's gonna be fun to do. So I'm gonna I'm gonna run through all of these steps, and then I'll still record all these steps, and then from here we can kind of just, I'll go make some coffee or something, and I'll come back. For you, it's going to be a snap of a finger, but for me, I need to step away for a little bit and go get me some coffee. Coffee. Okay, so we're gonna do it. Gonna do a create a standard collector, and in this case, we're gonna use Windows, and then save the collector to yada yada yada. We're gonna do edit the script, and then once we do edit the script, we're gonna make sure that we have all of these options. So first, let's just run the thing, Redline right here. And there we go, create a standard collector. And we're gonna edit the script, and it needs to be identical to this. So they said that, what do we need to do? We need to uncheck hook detection, and acquire memory image is also unchecked. So where is that gonna be? Hook detection and acquire memory. So acquire memory image is already unchecked. Hook detection, I'm just gonna uncheck that whole thing. So that should hopefully save us a little bit of time. And we're gonna go into disk and make sure that we turn on all the things that we want to turn on for disk. Okay, and then we did the same thing for disk to make it line up with everything that's inside this image. We're going to do the same thing for system here, and the system also matches everything that we have here. Moving on to network, we're going to do the same thing. So the top three, and then browse history and file downloads. So top three, and then browse history and file downloads. And finally, under other, there's a bunch of things that we got to do. So services, which is going to be the hashes, tasks, and that's pretty much it. So services, it's going to be these three, and then tasks, which is also going to be these three, and then we're going to leave persistence and everything alone. And then from here, we can click on OK. And now we can go and click browse to figure out where we're going to save our collector. They said we can save it anywhere, so I'm going to put it into the desktop just to make things a little bit easier for myself. And I'm going to create a new folder on the desktop. It's going to be called analysis, and I'm going to use the analysis folder. And from there, we can move on to the next piece right here. That after you choose a save collector, you will see the collector instructions. And so there's that. Should be all good here for our specific case. I can move on to OK, and then create a, okay, there we go. So here's the collector instructions, and so there we go. And in this case, it says if you go into the folder, you will notice that the batch file under Redline Audit, this is the executable script, and the script needs to be run as an admin. So if I go into open the directory that contains this, and this is it right here. So that's our directory that contains that, and this should be fine. So from here, I think I can just run it, right? and running the script, and it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm just going to leave this open right here on this screen. I'm just going to go here. I'm going to right click on this thing, run as an admin, and it's going to open a command prompt. And this is going to take 15 to 20 minutes. And then after this is done, it will close our command prompt, which means that it's done collecting. So from here, I'm going to cut the recording, and then we'll come back after this whole thing is done. Okay, that finished, and it took a minute. So it took easily, I think it took at least 20 minutes. So where is our file now, our review file? So let's go back to our instructions here and see where we can find it. Let me go back. It's the data collection set right here. And so after we go through all these, it's going to save it, and it's going to be available in the analysis session. So it's going to be under sessions, sessions, analysis, session 1. So we're going to go into sessions, analysis session, and there it is. So we're going to open that up inside of Redline and do some analyzing. The Redline interface, so this is what it's at right now. So it's currently creating our analysis session. When it's imported, we're going to see something that resembles this view, and on the left panel we have system info and processes. Then a handle is a connection from a process to an object or resource in a Windows operating system. Memory sections will let you investigate unsigned memory sections used by some processes. Strings, captured strings. Port is the critical sections that we want to pay attention to. Most malware often initiates the outbound or inbound connections to communicate to their C2 server, like exfiltrating data, so on and so forth. This situation is where you can review the suspicious connections from ports and IPs. Pay attention to the system processes as well. The threat actors like to avoid detection by hiding under the system processes. Some of the other important sections would be file system registry, Windows services, tasks, event logs, address resolution protocol, route entries, browser URL history, file download history, and the timeline will help better understand the compromise, what happened and what steps they took. The timeline will also record every action on the file if it got created, changed, modified, or accessed. If you know when the host was compromised, you can use the time wrinkles to filter out the timeline to only show the events that took around the time, and then we can kind of modify it the same way that we would any other thing. Time crunches helps to reduce the excessive amount of data that is not relevant, and it will hide the same types of events that occurred within the same minute that you specified. And cookie history, and a lot of other options that come around here. Of course, there's the Redline user guide, and we'll just open that up just in case we need access to it in a little bit. So now we have some basics. Let's go hunting. Where in the Redline UI can you view information about the logged in user? Okay, so for this one, since the log is still going, or the analysis session is still creating, going through this thing right here, searching for user info, it shows up under the session information section. So where is it? Yeah, system information. Under system information, there's a bunch of different things, including a section for the processes, and there's process information and there's user information. And I'm willing to guess that it's user information. It's not, so system information. Okay, there you go. System information has user information. So there is that, and for the rest of this, I'm guessing that we would have to wait for the session to be created, but I'll just read through the stuff and keep checking back on this thing to see how long this will officially take to load for us. So this should be fun. This room has a lot of waiting, so just giving you a heads up that these things are going to take a minute to load. Moving on to the standard collector analysis. Okay, so this task, the standard collector analysis, is basically just a bunch of questions that we got to answer, and it seems like the rest of them are kind of maybe the same. Yeah, they have a bunch of questions. So I am going to try to see what I can answer just kind of by deducing what we need to find. Operating system detected for the workstation is going to definitely be something that we would have to actually find under system information. The rest of the system information and for other useful data, what is the suspicious scheduled task, find a message that the intruder left. All of these things have to do with the actual analysis, which is still loading. So we are going to come back to this when it is loaded. And I mean, I kind of don't want to skip ahead because it's going to make the edit a little bit hellacious to do. So I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to come back when this thing is loaded. So we'll just do it that way. Okay, so I just reloaded it and that one took a few seconds to load. So thankfully it was not that bad. And now we can kind of go into the answers for these questions. So operating system detected for this workstation is going to be under system information. So let's try to find the OS for this workstation, which is right down here. Windows Server 2019 standard. Hopefully I can copy this. I can copy it. And so let's do that. And that should be our answer. Excellent. Be sure to check the rest of this for other useful data. What is the suspicious scheduled task? Message that's for you in the task. There's a new system event ID created by the intruder. Message of the event ID. Intruder downloaded a file containing the flag for question 8. Provide the full URL of the path, the full path to where the file was downloaded, including the file name, and provide the message in the file. So for the rest of the questions, I don't think we need anything that's inside the system location. So what we're going to do is going to try to find the scheduled tasks that were created on the victim computer. And that should be under tasks, I would say. Let's see what we can find here. Okay, so it says that it was created on the victim's computer. So the victim, based on what we found in the system information tab, is administrator. And we see it right at the bottom. It's logged in user administrator. And the host name at the top is THM Redline. So what we want to do is we want to go into the tasks section under analysis data, and it'll bring everything up for us, and then we can just go under the account name and find the administrator. And in this particular case, the creator is THM Redline administrator, and it's a Microsoft MS Office update fa.ke, so it's fake. The comment is inside it, which is THM persistence. And this is what we're looking for. So what they want in this particular thing is, first and foremost, what is the suspicious scheduled task, which is going to be MS update. So let me see if I can open this up and look at this further, or if I could just copy maybe that part and we can paste it. No, definitely not. So it's going to be the MS Office update fa.ke. Okay, there we go. And find the message that was inside this task, which is going to be inside of this comment, unless there's anything else that's available, which doesn't seem to be. Yeah, so I think it's that initial comment that's at the beginning. This, I do need to open this up. Like it would be, okay, there we go, finally. Okay, that opened up. And I can copy this message right here now and take this and paste that here. And that would be our message. Now there's a new system event ID created by an intruder with the source name THM Redline user and the type error. Find the event ID. So system event ID with the source name Redline user and the type error. So let's try to find that. Looking at the PDF for the manual for this thing, there's something under network ports, which is event logs, which might be useful to us. This thing is still loading the hierarchical processes that I tried to click on. So if I click on event logs, I wonder if it'll stop loading the other thing. Okay, it did. Very good. And so now under here, we can look at these event logs, and what we're looking for is the source name THM Redline user, and type is going to be error. So at the very, very top, there's one that is an error. The source name, let's see what the source name is going to be. That is not the source name. So I need to find another error with the THM user, THM Redline user. So we're going to try to find errors and go through all of the errors and see what we can find. Okay, this is a useful little filtering mechanism. When you click on this thing, it actually kind of has you look at contain a filter, or basically add a filter to this thing, and I just added the word error in here, and now it only shows me all of the errors, which kind of makes this a little bit easier. And then from here, so I'm just going to go to source, and I'm also going to do contains, and I'm going to use thm-redline-user to see what that does. thm-redline-user, and we're going to add this filter and see what we can find. And there is just one item, so very, very useful filtering, actually. That's kind of cool. So now what we want is I guess the EID, right? That's what they asked for. Find the event ID. So it's 546 right here. So that's that. Very good. Now provide the message for the event ID, and the message is in here. So I'm gonna try to open this up again, and we're going to copy this whole thing and go down here and paste this right down here. What just happened? Oh, whoops. There we go. That should be it, right? There we go. Great. It looks like the intruder downloaded a file containing the flag for question 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. So this is where the flag would be. So the downloaded a file containing a flag for question 8. Provide the full URL of the website. So we need to try to find downloaded files now. Let's see where we can find the downloaded files. There's a little section at the bottom right here. It's file download history. And that's nice and useful. And now we are looking for certain things about here. What other clues can they give us? Download a file, provide the full URL, and provide the path to that, and what's inside the file. So let's just look at what these things are and see if we can find anything fishy in here. There are a few things that seem kind of fishy under the file name. So CyberChef, Thunderbird, Redline, we have the blue, these are PNGs it seems. The analysis session 1 mans, which is fine. .NET FX setup, we have flag.txt, which is kind of obvious. I feel like that might be it. And then we also have this weird executable down here, which could be potentially it. So let's see what the rest of the information about flag is on this section. If we go back here, wormhole.app download stream. Yeah, that seems sketch as hell. And then there's another one from Wormhole as well. So it could be one of the two. And I want to say, yeah, I kind of want to say that it's the Wormhole thing. This one. I want to say it's this one. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take this path right here, because it has the executable. So the other one is flag, but this has an executable in it. And so if we drop this in here, oh, that's not it. Okay, so that's not it. And I wonder if I can just go file download history one more time. And since this wasn't the one, it might be the one that actually has flag in it. So let's look at this and see if this is the one. Okay, yeah, it is the one that has flag in it. So now it says provide the full path to where the file was downloaded to, including the name. And so this is the full path, and then including the name, it would be /flag.txt. So if we go here, paste that, and then what is it? Something, I need to put R at the end of this and do flag.txt. And there is that. And then what is the content of this file? So let's try to find the content of this thing. Okay, so all we had to do, since it doesn't give us the preview inside actual Redline, if we just go to where it was downloaded, which is basically this path, that is where it would reside. And that is exactly where it resides. So C, program files 86, Windows mail, some mail folder, and there's the flag. So we got our flag, and here we go, copy this, and it's gonna say good catch, my friend. And there we go, we got it. Okay, so cool. That was okay. That was not hard at all. The hardest part about that process was just waiting for the log to load, the analysis to load. So now we're going to go to the IOC Search Collector, and hopefully I don't have to recreate a new collector. It feels like I might need to, or no, we're just creating an IOC Search Collector, so it should be okay. Let's see how that works. Okay, so before jumping into it, they give us a decent description of what an IOC is, and you're more than welcome to just pause the screen if you want to read that. But it's basically an indicator of compromise, which is a sign that says that you might be compromised, or you might be getting compromised. The IOC editor is only available for Windows 7, but then there's an open IOC editor that's available for Windows 10. And then it's telling us that we can close Redline, so it seems like we're not going to be using it. And we're just going to create a text file that will go ahead and include the indicator of compromise, or the signs for the indicator of compromise, for example. And in this case, we're going to be creating a keylogger for the IOC. And we're going to follow along with the screenshots. Don't have to create the IOC file in this task. You will create an IOC file using the IOC editor and perform an IOC search in the next task. So we don't have to actually do this part. We're going to end up doing it in the next task, which is what it seems like we're going to be doing. IOC editor is conveniently placed in the taskbar next to Redline, which is this thing down here. It seems to be, Mandiant IOC editor. That's what it seems to be. So I'm just going to close this out. I will also close the File Explorer, and since we're done with this, we're just going to close that as well to save some system resources as they recommended. And we're going to close all of these things. So hopefully we won't need to use them anymore. When you open it, note, it may take 60 seconds for the application to launch. So why don't I just do this now as I wait. And before proceeding, create the directory that you want to use. Next, create the IOC file. And then keylogger indicators are going to look like this, I guess. So it's name, keylogger, Russian Panda is the author. And this is what the specific indicator of compromise contents are going to look like. And so the name is keylogger IOC. Author is Russian Panda. GUID, created and modified fields are not editable, which are where these things right here, these are not editable. Under description, you can add a summary explaining it. The actual IOCs will add under the guested add. So you have the scilog.exe, file strings, the MD5 hash, and the file size. And so it's add or item favorites. And then you can even search from within the contents and add it that way. So item, favorites, and then where to go. It went all the way down. Okay, whatever. And then so you can use one of their pre-made folders, it seems like. Once you select an item, you can enter the value for them directly. So you can add it within the properties, or the file extension contains yada yada yada, and you just start adding things to it. Once you create the value, you click save, and you can right click on it for additional options. And from here we can save, I think. So we'll leave that to explore on our own. Now that we've created it, let's move on and back to the IOC Search Collector in the Redline tool. If you close Redline, now is the time to relaunch the application. You can close IOC Editor again to free up system resources. IOC Search Collector will ignore the data that doesn't match an IOC that you've gathered, although you can always choose and collect the additional data as the Redline user guide states. To create an IOC Search Collector, click Browse, choose the location of the IOC file. Redline will automatically detect it and place it in the indicator section as shown below. And from here, we're going to, there's unsupported search terms that they will not show any successful hits in Redline. And then there are supported search terms that there will be something for it. After you are finished reviewing the configured IOC, click Next, edit the script, configure the data, configure what data will be collected for analysis. For this example, keylogger file IOC search, the following parameters were selected, and it's under disk. I'm guessing everything else was not selected. You will choose different settings for your script compared to the settings above. When done, it's okay, saved, and then browse. After executing the batch file in the same manner as before, now wait for the analysis to finish. So I have to wait another like 20 minutes. You will see the man's file analysis session 1. Double click and open it. If Redline fails, you can manually generate it by creating new IOC report and importing the IOC file. When the generation completes, you will see hits, and we can expand it. And from the screenshot, you can see that it was on Chrome DLL based on what they were doing, I guess. This is a false positive, so let's review the details. And this is what this looks like. And it matched the string rydev input sync that we had in that. It's important to gather granulated and accurate artifacts. The screenshot below is of a file with the most amount of hits, which means that it's most likely the file that we're looking for. And so this is what this looks like. It has the MD5 hash of the mofo and checksum API and all of that stuff. It's an executable, so on and so forth. So now you should be able to answer the questions below using the screenshots above. So what is the actual file name of the keylogger? Okay, so this is actually the information. So scilog.exe is the actual name of the keylogger. So there's that. What file name is the file masquerading as? So maybe that's what thm, what is it, 1768.exe is? Okay, that's what that is. Who is the owner of the file? The owner of the file is homeboy right here. It's win yada yada. This is horrible because I have to type all of these things up. And so let me see if I can kind of zoom in a little bit and kind of get that available to us. So win, and it's 2DET 5DP0NPT \Charles. Okay. What is the file size in bytes? And 35,400 is that answer. And provide the full path of where the IOC file was placed after the Redline analysis, including the IOC file name as well. The full path of the IOC file after the Redline analysis. Okay, that is not the path, because that's not the path of the IOC file. That's the path of the keylogger. So I think I used the wrong path. So it's supposed to be this, I think. Yeah, that's it. Goodness gracious. Okay. But yeah, so this is the path. It's the Charles desktop keylogger IOC search. IOC's keylogger.ioc is the path of that. And so now we're going to go create our own indicator of compromise tool to be able to pull this off. So this is what we know about our scenario. We're assigned to do a hunting task. They believe there's been an intrusion. They were using a tool to perform lateral movements, possibly by past the hash. You can file the can you find the file planted on the victim's computer using IOC editor and Redline IOC Search Collector. So far, we know the following artifacts, which is the file strings, which are including this, the file size, and using the previous analysis and using existing Redline session found in this situation, we're going to try to figure this out. So Provide the path of the file that matched all the artifacts along with the file name. Provide the path where the file is located without including the file name, and who is the owner of the file. Provide the subsystem for the file, device path, hash value 256, and the attacker managed to masquerade the real file name. So what is the real file name? So let's see if we can create an indicator of compromise using the information that we got here. Okay, so this is the IOC file as we have it. So, pass the hash IOC, Hank Hackerson, it's your boy. Catching the pass the hash attack is the description. And I essentially you could either type this out or you can select from the item and continue from there. And so basically what it looks like is, if I just want to give you a sample. So if I did or and I wanted to add another one, I would go here, file item is where the file size was located. So you just click this down and go all the way down. And when you finally choose it, it's just a blank box, right? So if I did 834.936 and pressed enter, then it gives you the full rule of file sizes 834.936. So I'm going to delete this one because I already have it. But essentially that's kind of what it would look like if you wanted to add one specifically. And then I'm just going to also delete that or rule. So I'm just kind of duplicating what they made, which they had two different strings on the one that we just went through. And so we have two different strings, and then we also have a file size 834.936. So that's basically what we have as our rule. And I am saving it, which I think it's saved. So if I went into my analysis, it should show me catch the hash analysis. No? Oh, I see. This is the IOC file that we just made. They did rename theirs, so I'm going to rename mine as well. It's going to be pass the hash .ioc, and that's what it's going to be. Okay, so created the IOC Search Collector, and that's basically what the file would look like. And then over here, this is the actual analysis session that we were supposed to run for this particular portion of the exercise for task 6. It's not the analysis session that we generated earlier in this room. It's the one that's actually available in documents under analysis sessions and then analysis session 1. So the one that I made earlier, and then I deleted it because I needed some extra space because it kept giving me an error message every time it was trying to generate this report for me, the IOC report. It kept giving me an error message that there was not enough space on the disk. And so I deleted mine, and then there's one that's already been done for us, and this is the one that we're actually supposed to run to test the IOC Search Collector, the indication of compromise against it. So I ran this, it took about 15 minutes, and then I came inside this, and this is what it would look like when it's done, right? So just like the one that we did under host, there's all of this information. And so the way that you run the search collector against it, the IOC collector, you click on IOC reports at the bottom right here, and you click create a new IOC report. And then you choose the folder that this file is in, and then it automatically detects it for you. And then you just press OK, and then it starts generating the report. And that took another, like 10 minutes or so. And now we have the report right here. And then we click on this and let's view the hits, and hopefully there'll actually be some information here for us. And it seems to be that it is here. So size in bytes and the hash value for it. So it seems to be the actual thing. And now we can potentially look at the report of this in index.html, which is inside of the IOC report file that was created for us. So I'm going to open this up, and hopefully this will open up fairly quickly. And then from there, we can actually answer our remaining questions for this part of the task. So the path of the file that matched all of the artifacts along with the file name. And we'll see if we can find that. It seems to be this thing. So I'm going to see if I can just copy this real quick. Let's see if we can copy that and paste that here. There we go. Great. And provide the path where the file is located without including the file name. So that would be this. I don't understand why they did this twice. There you go. Who's the owner of the file? And that's what we're going to wait for. The owners, administrators. So built-in administrators. So we'll do built-in administrators and provide the subsystem for the file. Let's see what the hint says. It says check PE info. And for that, I think I do need to wait for the rest of this. So this is the details, further details about the search. Okay, so I see. So there's that little information button that pulls up a little bit more information for us. And we do have so let's see if we can find the subsystem for the file here. Okay, the subsystem is the Windows CUI. Okay, and we'll put that here and provide the device path where the file is located. And here's the device path where the file is located. And provide the hash 256 for the file. It gave us the MD5 hash, so I wonder how I can pull the 256 hash. Okay, so we ran the get file hash command inside of PowerShell, and it asks you for the path, and then it'll keep asking you for more paths. So all you need to do is just press enter after you've pasted it. The first time I thought that I needed to keep pasting it, so I pasted it twice. But it's basically, this is our file hash for SHA-256. And so we're going to run that here, and that'll be that. And lastly, the attacker managed to masquerade the real file name. Can you find it having the hash in your arsenal? So we're going to do, okay, so we can do a virus total search with the hash that we have. So I'm just going to actually open it up in my own browser and search by the hash that I have. And the real file name is psexec.c, it seems. No, so that's probably not it. Let's see what else we could find. Under virus total, under the details section, there is the names. So we have psexec.exe, that might be it. So let's see if that is it. And that is it. Okay, great. So this particular task actually gave me a little bit of trouble because I was using the incorrect analysis session, and I thought I was supposed to use my own, but you're actually supposed to use the one that's inside the document. So as long as you use that, the rest of it should be pretty easy to do. All right, the last task is endpoint investigation. And pretty much another scenario for us to use to solve some problems. Scenario is that a senior accountant, Charles, is complaining that he can't access spreadsheets and other files that he's been working on. He also mentioned that his wallpaper got changed with the saying that his files got encrypted. This is not good news, and we're going to do a memory analysis of the compromised host. And essentially, they're telling us to use the endpoint investigation folder that's on the desktop of the machine and the analysis session mans file that's inside of that thing. Fun fact, the last time that I ran this, which was yesterday, so it took me 2 days to complete this room, mainly because yesterday I was just kind of running around like a chicken with its head cut off, and I deleted this folder as well as some other key folders that were required for this task because I was trying to save space, because it told me to delete some folders to save space, and I was just, yeah, let me just delete everything. This seems irrelevant. And then as I skimmed through the rest of this particular room, I was like, holy shit, I actually needed this folder, so on and so forth. So today, because I had to restart the machine all the way from the beginning, everything repopulated. So now we have this file. And I already have it loaded up, actually. So you kind of click on it, and there's no other files inside it. It's just these two files inside it. And I double-clicked the analysis session 1, and it took about not even 5 minutes. I think this one actually loaded much quicker than all of the previous ones that we've worked with, and we already have all the information on the left side here. So should be pretty good. So the first question is, can you identify the product name of the machine? Let's see what our hint gives us. System information. Next one is the Notepad exe process, the note that was left on the desktop for Charles. Check the Windows services section, which is for the Windows Defender service. What is the name of the service DLL? And then the user manually downloaded a zip file from the web. Can you file that? And it's going to be under file download. And the rest of it should be fairly simple. So first and foremost, we need to find the product name of the machine, which is going to be under system information at the very, very top. And then we just need to find the product name of the machine. And it's right down here under OS information, operating system information. It is Windows 7 Home Basic. So we're just going to copy that and go out here and voila. The next one is, can you find the name of the note that was left on the desktop for Charles? And they told us to look at the Notepad exe process. So let's go look at the processes, which is going to be under the processes list right here. And so I'm just going to open that out and let's see what I can find here. Takes a quick minute for it to load. And the process name is going to be Notepad that we want to look for. So I can just go under this and contain that filter and say Notepad .exe is going to be the filter for the process name. And it just brings one thing for me. And this is it. It's on Charles's desktop. And what do we want exactly? We want the name of the note that was left on his file. So the name of the note would be, I think, under arguments. Yeah, so it's read this, just whatever. So if I open this up, I should be able to just copy this whole thing. And there's that. So there we go. And we just drop that in here. And that's the name of the file. Find the Windows Defender service. What is the name of the DLL? And it says Windows Services section. So let's go to Windows Services, which is right here. And we're looking for the Windows Defender service. And what is the name of the service DLL? So let's look at that. I think under the descriptive name, we could probably look for Defender. So I'll just add that as a filter. And it is the WinDefend and service host. And we need the DLL. And right here, it's under service DLL. So MPSVC DLL is what we're looking for. And there is that. And so now the user manually downloaded a zip file from the web. Can you file that? And I know that it's under file downloads under here. And so we just want to see what they downloaded from the web. This guy, what did you do, bro? He downloaded something. That's why he got hacked. That's what we want. That's typically what happens when you do stuff like this. I think the hint for this one is this thing actually. So they manually downloaded the zip file. So I'm going to say that there's going to be two things that we're going to look for. There's the manual download, and then there's the fact that there is a zip file. So we can look for .zip in our file name and add that as a filter. That's actually it. That's literally it. And the download type right here, it also says manual. But if we look at the file name, we have .zip, and that's the only thing that actually has a zip inside its name. And it seems pretty sketch. This seems like a very, very sketch file just from the way that it's been named. And that whole thing is its name. So now provide the file name of the malicious executable that got dropped on their desktop. So the malicious executable on his desktop. So we go into the file system, you click on that, and it gives us a second tree type of menu, and then we expand Charles's situation, and we go here, and then on his desktop, there should only be one thing. So let's see if we can kind of get this to load here. Oh, so little hint for you. If you click on it, it doesn't load. You actually have to check it on and off. When you check it on, it actually includes whatever's on the desktop. So now we need to look at the file name that was dropped on here. The file name is, I mean, there's a few. So it could be this thing right here. There's the desktop ini, Endermanch, office setup, and then these two. There's a txt file, and then there's the other thing that's also redis. And so what are we looking for? It's a malicious executable. Okay, so we're looking for the malicious executable, and it could be this thing, or it could be office setup. I'm gonna say that it's not office setup, because unless it's been, spoofed and it's a different, they named it differently, but I think it's this thing. It's whatever this file is right here, Endermanch or something. So we're just gonna copy this piece and come out here and do that. And there we go. And provide the MD5 hash for the dropped malicious executable. And it's right here. So all we had to do was just double click on that line item, and it gives us all of these very helpful details. So we can run that as well. And what is the name of the ransomware? So let's see if that shows us anything here. I don't think it does show us that information here. So we might have to go to VirusTotal and search for the name of this ransomware. So we're just gonna open up a new tab, go to VirusTotal, and then right here, and voila, and search for this thing. Oof, that is horrible. So many red flags for this. Out of the 70 security vendors, 64 of them have flagged this. And that is the name of this, which is pdfwriter.exe. Oh, well, that's not it. So that's not the actual name. So let's go to details and see what other names that this thing might have here. So PDF writer, server. Okay, so when I clicked on behavior and went down, and I found something with the line ransomware in it. So specifically they're asking about ransomware, and it shows up as malware, as a lot of different things. And right after it, it says server, and then under the community section, there were also multiple references to server, and server down here as well. So there's a lot of different references to server, and we can also find it under the details section for all of the other names that it comes under. It comes server, 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 server. So it seems to be that server is the name, and it is the name. So just like that, we were able to kind of speed through the endpoint investigation portion of this room, and we are now done. So we can just jump into the conclusion and the final thoughts here. All right, as you have seen, Redline is a powerful tool that can guide you through analyzing compromised hosts. You need to consider that the accuracy of the analysis will depend on what kind of data that you want to collect. It collects various data for analysis, including running processes, services, files, registry, event logs, all these things. So while solving the room task, we might have noticed that the timeline can be useful when searching for specific keywords. I actually didn't use the timeline once, so maybe it may have been a little bit useful or more useful than other things. I really liked the filter part though, when you go right here and you can actually filter to include certain things. And one of the ones that we were looking for was the .zip and a lot of that stuff. So if you have like a little bit of information of what you're supposed to look for, those filters are very helpful. And so the timeline can give you an idea of when the attack started and what following actions the attacker took. Oh man, that could have been super freaking useful. I can't believe I didn't even use that. Here's the reference list. So we have the Redline user guide, which we went through a few times already, and the IOC editor user guide, which I did not go through. I just used the stuff that was inside of this room's instructions. But I mean, this was cool. This was a cool tool, with the exception of the load time that takes like 15-20 minutes for the freaking thing to load. Apart from that, it was pretty easy, and it was a fun little tool. And there was a little bit of misunderstanding on my part. They actually did mention that you want to open for this one, for the IOC search locator, the task for this, they do mention to open the existing Redline session found in this freaking directory. And it seemed so obvious that this would be where I need to go, but I just saw analysis session 1 and I read existing Redline session, and I thought they were referring to the one that I had already previously made earlier in their exercise. So I kept using that one, and I'm like, dude, this is not working. I'm not getting any information to answer these questions. So I was literally just smashing my head against the proverbial wall here, but it's fine. It's whatever. I finished, and hopefully you learned from my mistakes and you won't make those mistakes yourself. So it'll be nice and easy breezy for you. If you found this room useful and this video was helpful for you, if you learned anything from it, and if you're on the security analyst path, pen test plus, ethical hacker, all that good stuff, please like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell, drop a comment. When you do all of those things, or any of those things, one thing that you do is that you actually help the algorithm of YouTube find our channel, to expand our reach so that we can grow the community and find more awesome people just like you. But the more important thing is that when you turn on that notification bell, you actually get notified the next time a video comes out. And we are about to wrap up the SOC Level 1. I mean, it's going to wrap up probably in the next week or two, because there's still a handful of modules that are left inside of the forensics module, as well as the phishing module that's left. But then after that, we're going to be done with SOC Level 1. And then we're going to continue down the path for Pentest Plus, and then ethical hacker, and so on and so forth. So all of these things you'll get notified of, and it'll help you not only with your studies for your examinations and certifications, but it'll help you with the tasks that you have to run when you get into this industry and when you start doing this work. So it's very, very useful. It's very helpful in my humble opinion. And it would be a great win-win situation, because you would be a part of our community and you would learn a lot of cool things along the way. This is your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Peace, love, and chicken grease. And I will see you in the next room. Later.